Adam, it's wonderful to see you. It's only been 12 years.
Not long, eh?
Not long at all. It's wonderful to see you again. Thanks for supporting the Unprecedented project. I'm really keen to understand a little bit into your background, how you've gotten to this stage of your career, and a little bit more about the Frasers business, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So, 12 years ago, I started my recruitment career with you in the offices for Michael Dowie's. Took the plunge to go in-house in 2010. Went along the CIPD route and joined a business there as their recruitment manager. Cut my teeth in the retail world, and I've kind of stuck around the retail world, to be honest with you. Worked for a couple of businesses there, Boots being one, and Motorpoint another. Took a foray into IT as well for a startup business there that went on to get purchased by a big American business called GoDaddy. And then I moved to Frasers Group as their head of talent in July 2020, so right in the midst of the whole pandemic period, right at the end of lockdown one. Actually accepted the job, I think 24 hours before the UK went into its first lockdown. So, goodness me, I must have been crazy, but I think an incredible experience. And since joining this company, I've really explored the breadth and length of what you can achieve in recruitment, and certainly as the world has come back to life again, taking the opportunity with Frasers Group to elevate everything that we do and really stretch myself as well from a recruitment perspective. As you know, look, it's been feast or famine, hasn't it? And then and back again, and we're in a great position at the moment as recruitment professionals, where we're really stretching some muscles I think that we've maybe never stretched before. So yeah, my career, look, it's gone from in so many different directions, I suppose, from agency stuff to in-house, and leading small businesses to leading Goliaths where we are at the moment. And it's been a hell of a lot of fun.
All those years ago, I felt that you had leadership potential. So I'm really keen to understand what your definition of leadership is and what being a leader means to you.
Yeah, I was reflecting on this, and I think it's really easy to give the textbook answers of challenge yourself, lead from the front, big picture, all that sort of stuff. But I boiled it down for me really to the fundamentals of, you've got to be able to distill a vision. So in our business, we've got some real visionary people at the top of our company that have a really clear strategy about where we're going as a business. But what really matters from a leadership perspective is being able to distill that into something operational that your guys can do on a day-to-day basis, and giving them some sort of purpose, or at least helping them understand what they're doing on a day-to-day basis and how that's impacting on the strategy. The best leaders that I've worked for have been able to translate big picture stuff into day-to-day operational things. So one of the things that I've really focused on doing is supporting all the members of my team in understanding what it is they're doing day to day and how that impacts on the bigger picture. Spend the time with them to understand the little things that they're doing and sort of how that's contributing to the bigger picture. I think that's really, really important and really empowering as well.
What's the best piece of leadership advice that you've ever been given?
This is really interesting. I read a lot of stuff about personal development and about leadership and about what you can do as a leader to enhance and to elevate. I genuinely think, though, that the best advice it's not even advice really, it's just things that I've learned over my time is take the time to understand your team, and don't ever compromise that opportunity to spend quality time with your team members. And it's not just about learning about their job, but it's about learning about them as well. Again, I go back to some of the best leaders, and in some instances, it's the not so great leaders that I've learned a lot from. The people that haven't spent the time with you to understand you, the people that don't know who you are as a person, because I think that's so super critical in today's well-being society. The world that we work in I guess just as humans nowadays, it's so important to have a well-being agenda on on a micro level, not on a macro level, not on a company level, but really understanding what matters to your team members. If they need to leave early on a Wednesday, knowing that's why they need to do that, or do they maybe need to, I don't know, do they need a little bit more time to understand some of the more complex areas of their job, and can you afford them that time? That's really, really important. So for me, what really matters in being a leader, it's about giving the time back to your team members, being grateful for what they do, something that I do on a daily basis. And I learned this from another one of my managers actually, is thank your team members. Always say thank you at the end of the day. So like it's a really small thing. It doesn't mean anything at all sometimes, and it almost becomes a platitude, I suppose. You just get into the habit of saying it. But they remember that and they recognise that. I think it's really important to just have that gratitude, because at the end of the day, it's your team members that are delivering your strategy, and I think that's really important to be thankful for that.
So you joined in the lockdown period, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's been a strange old couple of years, obviously.
Yeah.
But how did they get to know you at Frasers?
Because we didn't have the luxury of, there's no ivory towers at Frasers Group. Like, we've got this really, really empowering, very flat structure of Frasers Group, which means that you need to be comfortable rolling your sleeves up, and not just rolling your sleeves up, but diving straight in there and doing the doing. So how did they get to know me? They got to know me by the fact that I was just doing the same job as them, for huge parts of the first. I mean, we had people on furlough, we had people coming back from furlough, I had people that were on maternity leave and coming back from it. So I had this kind of real fluidity to my team. But what that meant was that I had to learn all the jobs in my team and dip in and be able to do those jobs. I'm fortunate in the jobs that I've done. I talk earlier about the positions that I've had in my career up to this point in time. I've never had a team this size before, so I've never, maybe it's not a luxury, I suppose, but never had the luxury of all these people doing the doing. I've very often been doing the doing myself. As a recruitment manager, you're managing recruitment, not necessarily people. So you need to understand the jobs that you're doing. So I've done all those jobs before. So how did they get to know me? They got to know me because I was at the coalface with them on a daily basis, with my sleeves rolled up. But like I say, I took the time to sort of get to know them on a personal level. It was difficult though, because you're not able to go out for a drink. You can't go for lunch with people. You can't. When you sat socially distant, you're not really engaging with people. We had rules, COVID safe rules, where the canteen was closed, you ate at your desk, and it made it really abstract. It was really difficult to and Teams as well, you're spending most of your time on a Teams meeting. You don't get to know people that well at the other side of a screen. So as soon as we had the opportunity to get back into the office space, we gleefully took it and dove straight into those kind of one-to-one conversations, and spent a lot of time, just getting to know one another and the person behind the job title.
So leadership is about making more good decisions than bad decisions. It's not so much about doing the doing, as you've explained. Mm-hmm. Really keen to understand what you'd consider to be the most important decision that you made in the lockdown period.
Aside from accepting the job at Frasers Group, which of course is, goes without saying, although there were times, I'm sure, when during my notice period, when the world was going into lockdown, and who would have thought that retail was ever going to open again, that it didn't feel like the best decision I've ever made. I think for me, the best decision that I made was creating a hybrid working model and not going to a purely work from home model. And I know it sounds contradictory, because the world that we're working in at the moment, it's become very clear that you can do what you need to do from home. but I genuinely believe that the face-to-face interaction and the opportunity to have that tacit time, that impromptu conversation that you don't get when you've got this itemized list of your day when you booked in with Teams meetings. Someone said to me, what are you going to be doing at 3:15 next Thursday? Well, I can tell you exactly if I'm working from home, because it's probably booked in as a Teams meeting. I can tell you who I'm talking to and what we're going to be talking about. The best decision that I've made is going back to a sort of hybrid working model as quickly as I felt it was safe to do. It gave us so much more agility as a function. It gave us so much more productivity, and it improved that sanity levels, I think, as much as anything, that opportunity to not be in the same four walls all the time in a safe capacity. We're very stringent with the safety on site, and credit to our health and safety team for creating that safe environment with the screens and the sanitation stations and so on. But the opportunity, and it was not pushed back against by anybody within the HR team. Everybody wanted that. They were just waiting for someone to say, you know what, if you want to come back into the office, you can do that. And we made that call quite early, and it was the right decision.
Great. And if you look back to March 2020, is there any decision that you'd like to be able to take again?
Yeah, God, you know what? Yeah, I can sit and I could probably give you a 50. I could give you 50, maybe 100 decisions that nothing big though. I don't think, we fail quickly and we learn quickly and we move past things. And I think that's one of the brilliant things about the business I work in, but the approach that I have to working in general is fail fast. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, fail quickly. I dropped some clangers when it came to, you do in recruitment generally anyway, don't you? You have to make decisions on the spot when it comes to, if it's a decision about hiring someone or not hiring someone, or an employer brand angle that you're going to take, an advertising strategy that you decide to go down, a piece of software that you invest in. There's a few of them that I would potentially make different calls if I was presented with it again. Do I regret them? Absolutely not, because I feel like it's allowed me to fine tune everything. Everything we're about now, where we are now, is a product of those poor decisions, or maybe not even poor decisions, just maybe not as well thought through as they could have been. But yeah, I think I could probably list quite a few.
Adam, before we came on camera, we were talking about the importance for you of being able to define what a Frasers person is.
Yeah.
I want to ask the question slightly differently, which is, what for you are the non-negotiable behaviours that you expect yourself, but also others around you to live by?
Yeah, so it's a brilliant question. It's a question we ask ourselves within the talent function at Frasers Group on a daily basis. And it's evolving as we're evolving as a business as well, and as I evolve as a person. I think those critical factors have changed substantially, actually, since we were working together 12 years ago. The person that I am is very different, and therefore my values change. But right here and now, within our business, for me, the non-negotiables are absolute resilience. Being able to brush off knockbacks, being able to take feedback and do something with it, and not take anything personally. There's a number of behaviours wrapped up within those those values, those personal qualities. Resilience, fearlessness, we use it a lot within our business, this sort of fearless factor. What does it mean to be fearless? It's about being brave, it's about being bold, and it's about being prepared to make mistakes. For me, that's the most important. Yeah, the most important things: resilience, bravery, being bold, and not being afraid to try something, and not being afraid to fail, but understanding that we should only be making the mistakes once. If we're making it multiple times, then there's a problem there. But I would challenge my team to make more mistakes.
Which means, of course, that you've got to have a culture which is psychologically safe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Have you guys got that?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. We're really one of the things that's really empowering about our businesses. We ask people to make decisions that they're maybe not comfortable with. So we'll push you out of your comfort zone, and the comfort zone for us is being out of the comfort zone. So the most important thing that we ask our people to do is to push themselves to a point where they feel uncomfortable, I suppose. They feel like this is too big for me. At that point in time, we really see what you're made of. And I think as a Frasers employee, and certainly as someone that goes out to seek these behaviours within people, looking for people that are maybe punching above their weight, that's the sort of phrase that I think is a powerful thing within the recruitment space that we work within here. We want people that are stepping up. And when you step up, you see the real person. And you tend to find people that are stepping up have got the resilience, they are bold, they are brave, they've got that fearless factor. Because they just think, well, I'll fake it till I make it. If I don't know it, I'll learn it. on the journey.
Adam, we mentioned that you made a call early on about moving to a hybrid model so that your guys knew what was expected of them and what you guys were going to do in terms of a working model. We've also talked and touched upon psychological safety and the kind of values that you look for from your people. It feels to me as if you've got real clarity on what you're doing and how you're doing it. Really keen to understand, therefore, a little bit more about how you personally have coped with the last couple of years from a mental health perspective, but also how you spot that your team are maybe not all right or having a bad day, and what it is that Frasers Group and yourself as a leader do for those guys.
Yeah. It's, I guess the challenge is, of course, if you are working a hybrid model, by definition, part of that time you haven't got eyes on with your team. So it's difficult to take those temperature checks, isn't it, about how people are feeling. So you're often taking those cues from body language. So it's really important that we maintain that regularity of sitting down, let's have a face-to-face, let's have a conversation. When we can't do it face-to-face, then I do. And I do have remote workers in my team, 100% remote workers in my team who, goodness, and it's such an odd thing to say, but I think I've only met my entire team twice in the same room at the same time, in the whole time that I've worked here. Which is incredibly challenging, and so therefore you have to engineer these situations where you get to spend time with them and you get to spend some face time with them, and it's really important that you don't compromise that. What do I do personally? We have a catch up every Friday with everybody, which we try and make as light-hearted as possible. It's an opportunity for me to gather the stats for the week, and I feed that back into the leadership team and to the HRLT. But it gives my team an opportunity to talk about their successes and if they've not had successes as well, what's challenged them that week, but to do it in a safe environment, which is, it's a Friday, and we tend to be one of those businesses that operates at 110% of capacity Monday to Thursday, but then we do allow sort of, we give ourselves a break on a Friday. We log off on time, if not slightly earlier, particularly if we've got some heavy lifting and big projects and things going on. So we do make sure that, we're all committed to our role, and I think we, at the moment, because of the recruitment landscape is so challenging, it's requiring more effort to get things over the line. So everyone's doing a little bit more, they're doing more hours. It's really important that we balance that off with some recognition, first of all, and personal recognition one-to-one, but group recognition as well. So I use that Friday meeting to call out any particular good feedback that I've had from across the estate, and that's really important. People don't hear that enough, I don't think. And the culture in our businesses is that we've got our noses to the grindstone so much that we don't look up and take stock of what's going on around us. We don't always recognise what our colleagues are doing. I guess it's not a cultural thing within the business. It's just a product of just how busy we are. The business is in great health at the moment, so the retail side of what we're doing is the wheels are turning at twice the speed they ever have. As a result of that, all the infrastructure that supports that is spinning at twice the speed. So my team are recruiting like crazy, and often it's down to me to allow them that space and that time to sort of take a step back and sort of look what you've achieved today, look what you've done this week, by this year. Look at the numbers. Look at the ratios that we've improved. We've squeezed this. We've improved that. This metric is higher. That does a lot for mental health. Recruiters are naturally numbers driven. We were like an agency. We were always looking for what's the story our numbers are telling us. So giving people the opportunity to shout about what they've achieved is really important. From a more, I guess, office and hygiene perspective, giving people an environment and a working space that's ergonomic and is safe and secure and gives them that security, that personal, that confidence, I guess, that they're coming into, if they need to be in an environment, that at least they can be in an environment that is safe, secure, that's sanitized in both the literal and metaphorical sense. And we've really supported with that. So yeah, the wellbeing agenda it's a high priority within Frasers Group at the moment. Our HR team, our HRD is championing this, and a number of key stakeholders within the business through sustainability, through our L&D team with their e-learning modules and things that are all supporting this kind of, what are you doing yourself, but as a leader, what are you doing to support your team's mental health? It's being championed loudly at the minute across our business.
Great stuff. The purpose of Unprecedented is to build a library of content for leaders of the future. Mm-hmm. So I'm really keen to ask you, what one piece of advice, what one thing would you say to the leaders of the future if they're faced with something like this ever again?
So I do a lot of reading around sort of mindfulness and meditation and things like that. It's been really, really helpful for me throughout the pandemic and beyond, really, to give me focus and to make me think about the things that really matter. And I read a quote that said, if you're ever presented with a situation where you've got the opportunity to be right or be kind, always choose being kind. And it was a really, really powerful statement for me, because as a leader, you're very often looking for people to deliver against your goals and to just follow your leadership. But if you're doing that at the detriment of somebody else's mental health, if you're not being kind, then there's no point in doing it. You might as well leave it. So if you've got this opportunity to be right or be kind, always choose be kind. And I think leaders can take a lot from that. I really do. And I think some of the best leaders that I've ever worked with are the ones that have prioritized kindness over correctness.
Yeah. I think I can therefore guess your answer to the next question. What would you like your leadership legacy to be?
Well, you might be surprised in that case then, because I'm not. Look, your attitude and the way that you treat your team, that should go without saying. It's not something necessarily that you strive to be remembered for. It should just be something that you do anyway because it's the right thing to do. I don't think you should ever aim to be kind, because I think that just should be, as a human, as a person, as a leader, as somebody in the corporate world at the moment. It's probably too few and far between, but it's something that it just needs to happen more. What do I want to be remembered for? From a talent and a recruitment perspective, I want to be known for challenging the norms. I want to be seen as someone that moved the needle forwards for every business that I've worked for. I want people to think about this sort of before and after thing. I want them, I would love to be known as someone that came in that made purposeful and measurable changes to a business. And talent is a brilliant world to work in if you want to measure success, because you just put numbers behind things. You can look at output, input versus output, cost versus return, quality of hire is something that, if maybe even take that first answer back and say, what do you want to be remembered for? It's delivering the best quality service, product, person, result. That for me would be, I would be very proud if I could say every business that I've worked in, there's been measurable improvements in quality after my time there.
Great answer. Final couple of questions. Mm-hmm. If we refer to the post-pandemic period as the new world, really keen to understand if you've got any new world resolutions.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? The pandemic has really taught me the importance, and it's a non-work related thing, to be honest with you. It's the things you do outside of work, or it's the things you do when you're not working that really matter. I know how to deliver, talent solutions, and anybody within my team knows how to deliver talent solutions. Has that changed fundamentally? There might be a few changes, nuances to the way that we screen people, the way we source people. But that was a journey that was always going to happen. This has just expedited it. It was always going to happen. Post-pandemic world, for me, it's about how do you care for yourself? How do you make sure that you're match fit all the time? How do you make sure that you're mentally match fit, physically match fit? We've all been ill. Everyone's caught a cold. People caught COVID, and people have been really ill with it. It's about how you make sure that you're in the right headspace for that. So, do you exercise? Do you drink water? These obvious things like this, as cliche as they maybe are, if we get into good habits now and follow them up and continue doing these things, we take breaks when we need to take breaks. We log off when we're supposed to log off in an evening. We don't open our laptop on a weekend. We give ourselves that mental breathing space. So when you do rock up on a Monday morning, you are match sharp. You're ready to rock because you've had that time to recharge, to unwind, to whatever it is that you do that kind of gives your mind that space to just unload, get ready again for Monday, and then you're ready to go.
Final question is one that I've only thought of as a result of us chatting before we came on camera. My little boy went to Foss Park at the weekend with his grandparents, and was utterly wowed by your Foss Park store. In particular, the ability to pay £5 and play on the virtual reality consoles. So my question, therefore, is from a consumer experience perspective, you're winning the hearts and minds of school kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great place to be.
Mm-hmm.
That shows vision. It shows forward thinking.
Yeah.
What are you doing from an employee experience perspective? What is at the top of the Frasers people agenda?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, really. It is the experience side of things then. So our HR leadership team are looking for colleague experience. Broadly speaking, it's experience of anybody that interacts with the brand, though. So from my perspective, probably 90% of our interactions are with non-Frasers employees. So our customer experience is very much anybody that touches the brand, whether it be a customer, commercial customer from to your point with your young lad, or whether it's a candidate that's applying. Somebody touches the brand, they touch the commercial side of things. So enhancing and elevating the experience that they receive is so important. From a colleague perspective, we talk about well-being, we talk about all these different agenda points that matter. You can sum that up as colleague experience really cleanly. Every interaction that you have with a HR function, or keep it purely within the HR world because they're the bits that we can impact on. It's an NPS, it's a TripAdvisor, it's a 5-star kind of situation. Everything is being rated and graded all the time, whether you're actually physically doing it, if you've got an NPS structure built into your business there. But people are at all times making a scoring mechanism decision about what their interaction has been like, and we're aiming for 5 stars. That's where we need to be. We, as a function internally, and as a service externally, we want to be 5 stars. An employer, we want to be 5 stars. An experience, we want to be 5 stars. Commercially, we want to be 5 star. The biggest thing for us, enhancing and elevating that experience.
Adam, it's been phenomenal chatting to you after 12 years. Please let's not leave it another 12 years until next time. Thanks for investing your time.
Cheers, JT.
Cheers.